100 point. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
Did you know that every 4 days the nation's power grid comes under physical or cyber attack?
Now our enemies are also seeking the ability to sabotage our power grid, our financial institutions.
In recent days, top U.S. law enforcement officials, including the FBI director, have warned that there's a potential for a much bigger and much more consequential cyber attack in the near future. It was just yesterday that Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano said our country at some point will face a major cyber event that will have serious effects on our lives, our economy, and the everyday functioning of our society.
So let's take a look at this number as we inch closer to a new benchmark for the national debt. The country's red ink is expected to hit the $16 trillion mark.
This is not a drill, but I don't have to tell you that, do I? If you're watching this video, you already understand how unstable and how unpredictable the world we live in really is. Collectively, these threats have given way to a new movement in America. It's called the Prepper Movement, and it's made up of prudent, intelligent, and forward-thinking Americans who recognize that America and the rest of the world have some very, very difficult times ahead. So, if you're one of these prudent, intelligent, forward-thinking Americans, you've probably done your homework. You've probably searched high and low for prepping groups online and in your area. You've probably run across prepping groups of all shapes and sizes. Groups that specialize in tactical proficiency like militia groups, and groups that are strictly prepping, and other groups that are, well, they just want to sell you something. Some of the groups even have a bug out location. Some of them even have supplies. Some are well fortified, while others not so much. Some groups have a well-designed organizational structure, and other groups are very close-knit. In fact, in every instance, the only characteristic that these groups share is that most every prepping group out there embrace a deep-seated distrust of anyone who wants to join their group. There is often infighting, with everyone wanting the group to go in a different direction. And then there is the other side of the coin. You can't find any prepping group in your area at all. Your friends and family all think that you're a conspiracy nut and that nothing bad will ever happen here in America, and that the laws that govern economics and terrorism actually stop at our border. Obviously, there's something wrong with you, and they want nothing to do with a crazy scheme to prepare for something that obviously will never happen. But wait, there's actually a third scenario that we haven't discussed yet. Have you found a group, joined, and found that they're lacking in multiple areas? Maybe one group has a great plan but lacks the capital or leadership to make it happen. Perhaps your group just isn't large enough to provide adequate protection against a much larger group who accidentally stumbles upon your bug out location. Sound familiar? Well, if you found yourself in any of these situations, your first reaction is probably irritation mixed with a little bit of anger and confusion, followed by the question, what do I do now? What's the solution to all of these concerns? Please allow me to introduce the Independent American Network, also known as IAN. IAN is a nationwide nonprofit prepping organization dedicated to educating and training its members to be prepared to manage these kinds of large-scale concerns on their own. And when the crisis becomes too large to manage on your own, IAN offers an amazing nationwide infrastructure that will be there to support you and your family when the time comes. No longer do you have to be concerned with finding someone who will teach you the basics like water purification, food preservation, first aid, or more advanced skills such as using medicinal plants to fight off an infection. Stop throwing your money away on bug out locations that you can't develop, stock, or properly defend. Stop worrying about having properly trained medical staff. Stop worrying about learning how to purchase, program, and use a ham radio, or who to call for help. Ian is revolutionizing the prepping industry and setting a new standard by which all other prepping groups fall short. To learn more about this amazing group, please visit us at www.independentamericannetwork.com. Once there, watch our welcome video, and if you feel as though you found your new home, feel free to join. Thanks so much for your time and interest in the greatest prepping group in the world, the Independent American Network. Semper Paratus, and I look forward to seeing you soon.